This is one of the worst things that's happened to me in football this year. It'd have to be top three. I genuinely think that other than Tottenham winning the Europa League final and Man United beating us in the FA Cup on penalties, I don't think anything else. I don't think anything else beats this. This is the worst thing this is the third worst thing that's happened to me football wise in 2025. Man, what is going on, bro? Florian Wirtz has completed a transfer to Liverpool for £130 million. I think it's about 150 million euros. And man, that's just horrible. Like, Florian Wirtz to Liverpool, and mate, you guys don't know how highly I rate this guy. I mean, what a player! I just firstly want to give props to Liverpool because I've never seen them move like this. I've never in my life seen Liverpool make this type of signing, this statement of a signing. I mean, look, Liverpool have had amazing players over the years, right? In Salah and Mane and, all these great players that have won trophies there. But none of them have really been like big signings. The only proper like big signings that they made and you're like, oh my god, that's massive, is Van Dijk and Alisson. But even that, Alisson was only really there for about a year. He had one good year at Roma, earned a record fee for a goalkeeper, which wasn't even that high at the time. He earns that move to Liverpool. And then Van Dijk, I mean, yeah, he was a great young centre-back, but he was at Southampton. Like, let's be real. It was a signing that, everyone really expected Liverpool to make. No one was like, there were people all over the world rating this guy. Florian Wirtz is a different type of signing, yeah. It is a British transfer record for a reason, yeah. £130 million. I think the most expensive before that was Moises Caicedo for about 115, and then I think it was Rice and Enzo before that. So all, midfielders, none at the level of Florian Wirtz. This is a player that you can make the argument of him being a top 10 to 15 player in the world. I don't think there is a single out-and-out 10 in world football better than this guy. I mean, you can argue that, Bellingham, but I would consider him more of an 8. I'm talking about a true out-and-out 10. There's no one better than him. He's better than Musiala, which is the first one that most people think of. And then this era of football isn't really dominated by these type of players. And it's one of the reasons that I think this is such a good signing for Liverpool. Because forget, the money aspect, and I'll get into that because it's clearly a lot of money, but this player, I mean, look at the teams that they beat to get him. The two main ones, obviously, everyone would be interested in this player, but the two main teams that it was looking like it would be a bidding war between those two for this guy were Man City and Bayern. Man City, it understands they had other concerns, what you've seen with their business, and I'll probably make a video talking about that, but you've seen with their business bringing in Reinders and Aït-Nouri that they didn't really have that much money to spend. They've spent the 3 players that they brought in, because they ended up bringing in Cherki as a backup to Wirtz. The 3 players they ended up bringing in cost less than Wirtz did, because they just had more. They didn't just win a league title, they had more positions they had to address. But bro, Bayern, I thought Bayern was inevitable. I thought that Bayern was inevitable. When I saw that City, ducked out because of the money, I thought, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But this is the most Bayern signing ever. Look at the Bundesliga players that Bayern have signed. Goetze is a big one. Lewandowski is probably the biggest one. It's their whole thing. It's their MO. Going to Bundesliga rivals and signing their best players. That's why they won the league 11 times in a row. That's why they've won, I think, 12 of the last 13 Bundesliga titles. Because they just poach everyone. And I thought that this one was going to be a given. I thought that we'd see Wirtz and Musiala, 2 players that are compared a lot. I thought we'd see them unite playing for the same club. But that's not what happened. Because Liverpool, And as I said before, they've never moved like this. I saw Liverpool were, in the race, and I kind of chuckled because, Liverpool are in the race FC for these big players. Let's be real. Like, so many times over the past couple of years, we've seen them go in for the likes of Moises Caicedo, for the likes of Jude Bellingham. These top signings, these statement signings that they just can't get over the line. They can't get it done. The Caicedo one was close. They agreed a fee, but then he chose Chelsea. This is different, bro. This is different. This one they got over the line, and it's because of what they've just done. Those signings that I just mentioned, it's specifically because, Liverpool hadn't won the league in a while. Well, and when I say while, I mean a few years. Like they both those signings were from 2 summers ago. And Liverpool, were coming off a trophyless season where they weren't in the Champions League. It makes sense why these ones didn't work. But now they've won the Prem. And I said this when Liverpool, I said this in December, that this league title is obviously a massive achievement for Arne Slot and for Liverpool. And I'll talk about, how Liverpool look for next season. But I think it's bigger moving forward. Because there's not going to be a rebuild phase now. You're not going to have Arne Slot coming in where, he's going to have to rejig the squad a little bit. You see, this is the thing that I was hearing from everyone. You see Salah and Van Dijk getting up there in age. Maybe they'll be a decent team this year, but he'll have work to do. And who knows? Maybe Van Dijk and Salah fall off next season and he has some holes to fill. But Liverpool are a destination club. They've proven that they are one of the top clubs to go to in the world. And if you're Florian Wirtz, I don't think that there's really a reason not to sign for Liverpool. Maybe clubs like Barcelona or PSG or Madrid are more appealing, but if you're comparing Liverpool to City and Bayern, why not go to Liverpool? The reason you pick them over Bayern is because, you get the chance to go to the Premier League, which is the best league in the world. And I'm going to make a video about men's, and as I said, I'm going to make a video about City next season and why they are an incredible team, but why it won't be as easy as it should be after them having this kind of summer. Because, mate, the disrespect that the Premier League's gotten this season, because Arsenal and Chelsea and City and all these and United and Spurs and all these teams that are usually up there were off it. The Premier League got heaps of disrespect, and I'm telling you, mate, the Premier League is the best league in the world, and it will be back next season. I think next season we could see one of the best Premier Leagues we've seen in ages, just because of the level of business that all the clubs at the top are doing. And why not? Why not go to Liverpool over Bayern Munich? Why wouldn't you? It's the perfect. It's a much better option. Both teams are going to be potentially looking to win the Champions League this season. Bayern made it one step further than Liverpool did. They made the quarterfinals. Liverpool went out in the round of 16. But I think that Liverpool, in the end, had a very valiant exit, going out on penalties to the eventual winners. Whereas Bayern kind of faded out against Inter. So I don't know, man. I think that it's, with Bayern you're guaranteed league titles, but Liverpool you're in a great position to win it. And I think Liverpool have to be title favourites heading into next season at this point in time. Obviously, City could do some more business, which could tip the scales in their favour. But I think as of right now, Liverpool, they've just run away with the league and signed a £130 million player. They have to be title favourites despite the business that City have already done. And obviously, if you can decide between a Premier League and a Bundesliga for Bayern, you're picking the Prem every day of the week. And then it's them or City, because obviously City would have been the move. But as I said, City folded. City didn't want to pay the money. And I think that is where Liverpool got this right, by not backing down, by having some ambition. Many teams, if they were in that situation, would go, you know what, we've just won the Premier League title. Maybe we don't need Florian Wirtz. And I've been one to say that whilst this Liverpool team is incredibly strong, I don't like this narrative that, they're the worst Premier League winners ever. They've just got lucky. Everyone fell off. They earned this title. But they're not the greatest team that we've seen in England. I don't think they're better than the treble-winning Seaside. I think there are Liverpool teams that have failed to win the league that are better than this team. And especially with the loss of Trent, they lacked a lot of creativity. Like, that midfield isn't a creative midfield. You know, you've got Alexis McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch that are great holding players. I think they're the best pivot in the league. You know, Gravenberch was arguably the best six in the league. McAllister, who I thought was the best midfielder in the league. And then ahead of them, you've got Dominic Szoboszlai, who, you know, he's just there for legs. He's not a creative engine. He's not a creative player. He's just, you know, an engine of that midfield. I think he's a great player. But Trent was sort of their main source of creativity. And without Trent, I thought they lacked that. And bringing this guy in... And look, I do think that Frimpong also does have an aspect to that. You know, he's praised a lot for his ability to go forward. But bringing his partner in crime at Leverkusen in Wirtz, it's a scary signing because it's exactly what they need. They will not... You know how everyone was saying Liverpool are going to miss Trent next season? Bringing in Wirtz, they're not missing Trent anymore, bro. I don't care how good Trent is on the ball. Bringing in Wirtz is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous signing. And then Trent, obviously, defensively doesn't have that much. You know, you bring Frimpong in. I think a 1-2 punch of Frimpong and Bradley next season is going to be enough, like, for that right-back spot. So, yeah, I don't think Liverpool are missing Trent at all. I know that they're 130 mil, or actually 120 million pounds poorer than they were. But, bro, that's a price you're willing to take when you're competing for a Premier League and even a Champions League, bro. Because I'm telling you, where this Liverpool team, you know, is left, I don't think there are going to be many teams in Europe that are competing with them. Obviously, PSG are going to be a strong side. Madrid, Barca, the teams that you'd expect to be there are a strong side. But I don't see why this Liverpool team can't win the Champions League. And I had a similar mentality this season. Because I do think that the quality in Europe at the highest level is going to rise. You know, I think Madrid are going to strengthen. I think Barcelona are going to strengthen. City, Liverpool, hopefully Arsenal are going to strengthen. I think all these teams that are usually at the top of strength, I think this season was kind of a bit of a year off for most teams. Like Madrid, PSG, Barcelona were the two better ones. But like, and I'm not trying to take away from Inter's brilliance, but allowing a team like them to make the final kind of shows that a lot of teams weren't fully at it. Like Arsenal as well, getting to the semi-final. We had a poor season. I didn't think we were great this season. So yeah, I definitely think that the quality at the toppest level is going to rise, not only in the Prem, but in all of Europe. And I don't see why Liverpool can't be among, you know, one of the teams that are competing. I don't see why they can't. I mean, they're just so good now. I think Wirtz is one of the main fixes to their issue. And then obviously they've got Frimpong. I think the left back position is one that, you know, one that was a doubt for Liverpool. But yeah, man, this is a huge signing. It is. So let's talk about Liverpool now that they, you know, have brought in Wirtz. So here I've got this, like, you know, football line a bit. If I click that, I mean, that was their team from the last day of the season. That's probably, actually, it's pretty much, that's going to be very eerily similar to the team that they're actually going to have. I think there's just going to be a few changes. You know, obviously, instead of Curtis Jones, you'd put Alexis McAllister. Like, the guy is a freak. I would probably go with like a Jota up front over a guy like Diaz. I'm not a big Diaz guy. So I think this is probably Liverpool's best 11 from last season, obviously without Trent. Yeah. So already you had Kirkez, you had Frimpong, who, whilst I personally think Bradley is more defensively equipped for Liverpool's system, I think that Frimpong's going to get the nod just because he's a new signing and Bradley's still young. I could definitely see Bradley, being used more than other people think. Another shoe-in is it looks like they're going to get the Kirkes deal over the line. That one's not official yet, but I'm just going to assume that Kirkes comes in. It's heavily rumoured. They're in, at very advanced stages. So, yeah, let me just close some of these tabs. I definitely think that deal will get done. And then it's a question of how Wirtz fits into this team, because... I would definitely... I'd say Gakpo has to keep his spot. I don't really see a world where Gakpo gets dropped. And there's a couple different things that I think they could do. Scenario one, the most obvious one, he just comes in for Szoboszlai. You just get rid of Szoboszlai, you just put Wirtz there, boom. That's your team. You got Jota up front, and look, we could also see them buy a striker, bro. I genuinely think, watch them get Kirkes. And if they get Gyökeres, bro, if they get the guy that I've been bigging up for ages now, Gyökeres has been. If you guys come from my TikTok, you'd know Gyökeres is my guy. But I'm just gonna assume they keep Jota there. Another thing I think they could maybe opt for is, instead of Jota, bringing Szoboszlai back into the team, because Jota didn't have a great season. And then potentially moving Gakpo up front and putting Wirtz on the left. And the reason I think they could opt for that is because, I think that's just a stronger team personnel-wise, because I think Szoboszlai, he's a good player. I think he's definitely a very good player, and, I think you have to keep Gakpo in that team. You can't really drop him. I wouldn't want to see Szoboszlai and Jota. It's not great. But then the problem is, you got players playing out of position, Gakpo has played up top for Liverpool quite a bit. I don't like it. He's much better on the left, where he can cut in and shoot from long range, because he's got a nice finish on him, a nice shot. And then Wirtz, I like him more centrally. He can drift out wide. I like him more centrally. Here's an interesting one. You can call me a nerd. You can call me a weirdo. It's a tactique or whatever. Go to the good old-fashioned 4-4-2. Put Salah up front, and then do that. Because Szoboszlai likes to go out to the right, Wirtz likes to go out to the left. Out of possession, you'd kind of have this team. Maybe you'd go for a Gakpo and Salah press. And then in position, it could go back to that 4-2-3-1, where you've got, Gakpo sort of maybe playing as a false 9. Maybe he can occasionally drift out wide, allow Wirtz to go more centrally. You've seen it with PSG's front three, where maybe you don't need a striker. Maybe the fact that Liverpool don't have a top striker could work in their favour, because you've got the goals in Salah. It's not like Arsenal, where, we've clearly got a lack of goals. Liverpool have the main output guy in Salah. Wirtz will bring some goals. Gakpo can score goals if he stays fit and finds some consistency. And then that adds the fluidity. Salah might sit out wide. Gakpo might drip to the left. We could see Szoboszlai and Wirtz go in centrally. It could be something like that. Just a more fluid type team. I don't know. Obviously, you do have a guy like Jota. You do have Diaz. They're not going to be the same team. I'm just talking about, just a standard, 11 that, what's Liverpool's best team? I think it could be something like this, but, I don't want to get cooked, so let's stick to the 4-2-3-1 like that. I think that's probably the more likely scenario, because I think that Szoboszlai, he just offers the run power that maybe McAllister doesn't have, and yeah, I think that would kind of be better off for them physically, because the Premier League is a more physical league, and then you could see, I don't know, a Diaz or a Jota come in. Szoboszlai holds bench maybe for the Champions League games, where you're just relying on technical quality alone. But yeah, Liverpool going to be scary, bro. I'm telling you. I was in the position where, all season I've been like, City, they're going to have a massive summer, which they have already had. I think they really just need to bring in maybe another defender and a goalkeeper, maybe a centre-back and a goalkeeper, I'd say is really all they need to go for the title again next season. But bro, this signing, I think I think Arsenal, bro, we gotta, I'll make it a biased Arsenal perspective, bro, we gotta fix it up. Because as of right now, you're picking between Liverpool and City on who's gonna win the league. You're picking between those two teams. You don't actually... I don't think Arsenal are there, bro. We need to sign 4 players. We need to sign a striker, a left winger, actually no, 3, because Zubamendi's done, and then a 10. I think those 3 signings are what we need. You know, a 10 to come off the bench, and a striker and a left winger to just be the bagsmen and be the goals in our team. The goals that I said we don't have. Another reason I think that this Wirtz signing is big, not just for a Liverpool perspective, just for the Premier League, because when was the last time we actually saw this kind of signing in the Prem? And I know that we've had teams splash the cash on, as I said, Caicedo, Rice and Enzo, but Enzo was from Argentina. He was a wonder kid coming off a World Cup. And then Rice and Caicedo were both from other Premier League clubs. I think that this is the first time, I can't remember the last time that we had a genuine superstar from abroad come to the Prem. And this is why it was kind of always destined that Bellingham would go to Madrid, because there was a whole thing of always English is going to come back to the Prem. The Prem doesn't do that. And even when City do it, they either don't buy signings for that kind of money, or they just do it from other Prem teams, like Jack Grealish. I think the only one that's even remotely comparable to this is Haaland. But then again, I don't think Haaland was as well renowned as Wirtz. Bro, Haaland came in and he was getting Nunes comparisons. Yeah, Wirtz is a genuine, like, bona fide, world-class superstar that is signed for a Premier League club. It's a massive transfer for Liverpool. It's a massive transfer for English football. And I think, you know, if I'm taking my Arsenal goggles off, this is huge for the Prem. Because we know City aren't going to run away with the league. And we've now got a genuine, like, bro, this guy, the best attacking midfielder in the world has come to the Prem, especially in a position where I think the Prem's lacking him. Who's the best genuine attacking midfielder in the Prem? Is it Cole Palmer? Cole Palmer took 6 months off. Is it Bruno Fernandes? Nah. Odegaard had a shocking season. De Bruyne is past his prime, and I think he's gone. I think that shit got confirmed, him to Napoli. So yeah, bro, I think this is a crazy, crazy signing. And I'm going to stop yapping. I've got a few video ideas coming out. I've said this a million times. I'm so inconsistent on this YouTube. I want to try and get these longer form videos, because as you guys can tell, I love yapping, bro. I've yapped about Wirtz to Liverpool for 20 minutes. I want to try and get this consistent. I'm going to see if I can maybe watch some Club World Cup games, make some reviews for the Club World Cup, and then just talk about other signings, so I can really get stuck in next season. You know, I'm going to try and post, 3 to 4 videos a week. That's going to be my goal, to have a 3 to 4 video a week schedule before next season. Obviously, the transfer window just had a break for the Club World Cup, so it's probably not that realistic now. But there's some shit that's been going on that I could talk about. I'll talk about City, and then Spurs are another interesting one. And then I'll probably make a video just asking what the hell's going on with Arsenal Football Club. We should get the Zubamendi transfer, like, fully unveiled. It's confirmed. Like, everyone knows he's coming, but I'll wait until the club actually announces it, so I can maybe do like a reaction to his announcement video or whatever, something. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video, man. Liverpool fans, you should be over the moon. Anyone, and I forgot to talk about the whole money thing. Bro, anyone who genuinely thinks that this is an insane overpay, look, maybe Wirtz isn't worth 150 million euros, but bro, you should be happy that your club is having some form of ambition for once. Like, the club's very successful, but it's not due to high expenditures in the summer. It's not like City where they just spend and spend and spend and spend and spend. It's due to, like, scouting and development and stuff like that. They've had players come in and do well from the academy. They've had cheaper players come out of nowhere. Obviously, they have had some big signings like the Van Dijks, like the Allisons, but this is big, bro. This is big. Like, other than Van Dijk and Alisson, none of these players have been like top signings. Not close to the level of Wirtz, but yeah, massive signing. Liverpool fans, you should be very happy. Everyone else, not only in the Prem but in all of Europe, should be fucking terrified of Liverpool next season because, bro, these guys are going to be moving mad.